Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we are here going over the patch notes for the Season 2 Reloaded update for Call of Duty Black Ops 6 and Warzone. Now, we just posted a video about all the changes coming in this update based on Call of Duty's blog website that they just posted a few days ago. However, this one we're only going over the changes in the patch notes directed to Warzone, and more specifically, the changes in the patch notes that were not in that previous blog post. So first up, we have the playlist, which I think is pretty similar to what it is now. We might have had trios for Plunder, I'm not sure, but we got trios for Ranked BR, we got Battle Royale, Solo, Duos, and Quads, and then we got Resurgence, Solos, Duos, Trios, and Quads on Rebirth Island, and only Quads on Area 99, and then again, Quads for Plunder. And as they mentioned, there's going to be a bunch of quality of life changes, but they're trying to improve the game before they really focus on the content, specifically for Warzone, because it's honestly the worst part of it right now. So we're going to go over just a few of these. If you want to check them all out, you can simply head over to the patch notes yourself. As you can see, there's a ton of them. But first, we're getting the stamina bar back. We had it during the last iteration of Warzone, but it's the stamina bar, so when you're sprinting for the attack sprint, it will lower and increase. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Either way, it's going to be there. You simply just have to enable it in your settings. When you pick up a loadout, matching lethal and tactical equipment will now be refilled upon picking up the loadout instead of just being dropped on the ground. And you will auto pick up lethal and tactical equipment when you're just running over it. That way you won't have to individually pick up every single thing. One thing I'm pretty happy with is they're going to make the favorite loadout be the top loadout when you go to grab your loadout instead of just when you're buying a weapon in the buy station. That way, if your favorite one is halfway down, you don't have to scroll down every time just to grab that loadout, even though it is your favorite. They're fixing the very annoying D-pad function in the winner circle, so that way you're not just doing emotes the entire time when you're just trying to scroll down in the menu. And also, when an enemy deploys 3 UAVs, it will actually signal that an advanced UAV has been activated. That's a first. All right, and a couple changes to perks. We obviously know there's a new perk we talked about in the previous video, but Mountaineer is finally going to be fixed and ready to use. It's been around since the start of Season 2, but it actually hasn't been working. And one thing I'm excited to test out in this update is alertness. For some reason, every time I put on alertness, I've never actually seen any kind of alertness. I don't know, something apparently with the HUD settings, but it says indicator will now always appear at the edge of the player's screen regardless of their HUD settings. All right, and we also got a bunch of weapon updates. So obviously we got the new weapons with a bunch of melees. We've talked about this before. Ninja Turtles coming in hot. But we have the belt fed attachment as well, and then we have general adjustments. There's a whole bunch of them. I don't want to read through all of these, but a lot of them are geared towards the MW2 and MW3 weapons to kind of make them more in line with the Black Ops 6 one. All right, and for the changes to certain weapons, the AK-74 got a buff to its range. The Cypher 91, which is the new AR, got a buff to all of its damage ranges. I think this one's a pretty solid one. It's going to be even better now. The Krig C, also a solid option, got a buff to all of its damage ranges. The Model L got a little bit of a balance. It got a decrease to its damage at close range and an increase to its damage at far range, so it might actually be better at those farther ranges. However, it did get a pretty solid nerf to its damage range in the first place, and it only has 1 damage fall off, so that's basically it. Instead of getting all the way out to 62 meters, which you could extend to like a crazy 80 meters, it's only 47 meters. Still going to be solid though. The XM4 somehow got a nerf to its long range damage, and it also got a bunch of nerfs to all these other things. They are just taking this thing and saying, do not use it. And the GPR got a couple little changes. It got a buff to its CHF barrel to basically make the recoil a little bit easier, and it got a nerf to its rapid fire. For SMGs, the C9, kind of as predicted, got a nerf to its damage ranges, and it kind of took out one of the damage ranges in the middle, but either way, each damage range got a nerf, but really not that bad of one. It's still going to have solid range, especially if that includes no attachments. The Compact 92, which is one of the faster killing SMGs in the game, actually got a buff to its first 2 damage ranges. The PP919, which a lot of people use because it's super easy and has a larger magazine capacity, it got a nerf to its first damage range, and also got a nerf to both middle damage values for those middle 2 ranges. And it actually got a damage reduction at its farthest range as well by 2 each of these. It's pretty strong. It's probably gonna nerf it quite a bit. The GPMG, which I don't really see too many people use, it got a damage nerf at its close range. It's an LMG, probably won't affect it that much, but it got a slight damage buff at its farthest range. along with kind of like a damage range nerf as they kind of took out the middle range. And the Fang 82, they actually made this thing better overall with movement because they kind of want to make it an LMG and AR hybrid. So if you like the Fang 82 already, it's going to be faster and easier to use, more like an AR, even though it is an LMG. So you might want to give it a shot. The AEK, pretty simple. It got a buff to its close range damage and all of its damage ranges. The SWAT 556 got a buff to its burst delay, both in the regular fire and the rapid fire mode. And however you say this, the T Skarkov 762, it got a small improvement to its shock healing. So basically, you're not going to accidentally do like a double shot when you're not meaning to. The SVD sniper rifle, pretty much terrible, but it did get a buff to its farthest damage. And they made some adjustments to the melee weapons so that way they kind of even each other out with lunge distance and whatnot. And besides that, we got a bunch of bug fixes, which you kind of predicted. There's a whole bunch of them. If you want to check those out yourself, all you got to do is head over to the patch notes at the Call of Duty blog website. And there you have it. There's the patch notes coming today for the Season 2 Reloaded update for Warzone. I'll see you out there.